we were named that by somebody in the Argus. What's it? The Argus?
In the school newspaper.
The school newspaper called us that. And Jerry and I decided that one of these days, before we retired, the two of us were going to skip hand in hand.
You wouldn't do it.
Just for the
Chicken.
Actually, we ended up retiring before we had to change the name. That doesn't mean that we may not go back and remember us, you know. But we have. I've loved this man since the first time that we met, and we have been the best of friends. Despite all of these differences, and I suppose maybe that's what makes us so close together. He has always been my best friend, and he always will be.
Good luck.
Well, Jerry, we got a couple of letters to read here from folks who couldn't be with us. This is from Mike Sisti.
Michelin?
Misha, yeah.
Michelin.
Who's the Michelin?
A.K.A. Ninja.
Yeah, he was the Ninja Turtle. He was Michelangelo. This is Mike says, he sends, I know and you have often said that you made a point not to gush and prod your students into a career as an actor because you knew the reality of working in the theater and that it can be a difficult road to take. But it was your unembellished support and encouragement that said, if you must, you must. And I did. You gave me many of the tools, and that gave me the courage and the confidence. So 20 years in the theater, Broadway, 20 plus years in movies and television later, I'm standing up to say, Jerry, you did a hell of a good job. Thank you and God bless you. Love, Mike Michelin Sisti. Dick Castleman also sends his regards and says, my memories of Kenmore West, which are vividly etched in my life, clearly revolve around the backstage entrance and that gold curtain. At least in 1966 it was gold. It was in this safe haven that I could escape, leaving my worries outside, and thanks to you, begin to nurture my creativity. I was a piece of work in the raw, arrogant and driven, but somehow I always felt welcomed in this theater. Interestingly, after singing in the quartet and the Music Man, I headed off to college and then to New York City, where I formed another quartet, which ended up opening for a number of celebrities like Marlene Dietrich and Bill Cosby. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being there and supporting the talents of so many young people over the years. All my best, Richard Castleman. We have another one from Gail Golden. I was your student director for the very first Kenmore West musical, Bye Bye Birdie. I had such a great time doing that show. Now I run a business theater company and a children's theater, and for many years I worked at the theme parks and entertainment, Disney World, SeaWorld, and Universal. I worked as Cinderella's fairy godmother at the Magic Kingdom. No matter where I go and what I do, I'll always remember you and the great shows we did together at Ken West. They gave me a lot of joy and confidence and provided a solid base to build my career on. Thank you for the opportunities you gave me and the wonderful times we had working together. With lots of love, Gail Goldsman, or Gail Golden. How about Karen Cohn? Karen says, back in 1966, when we first encountered each other, I was a pretty ungrounded, socially awkward ballet dancer. By the time I left Kenmore for good, probably in 1970, I was a much more thoughtful and focused person, and my vision of the performing arts and what they could do for kids had opened up. I went on to teach children of the inner city in Boston during the busing crisis. From there, I went to graduate school in Oregon, where I began to write about the content of dance in public schools and about the importance of the arts, especially the performing arts, to cognition, emotional, and social growth and development, and to creative imagination. My pathway from there into teaching, choreographing, higher education, arts advocacy, nonprofit development, national level positions, and authorship of one book, with another on the way, began in Kenmore, New York. As it did for many of us. You opened up so many young people who are now spreading those seeds of understanding in so many ways. Know that you made a difference. Karen Cohn Bradley. And of course from Paul and Debbie Atkinson, who can't be with us, they actually included a mock telegram in their tribute letter. They say, we both have fond memories of you reading opening night telegrams from past cast members. Stop. Unfortunately, Western Union stopped the telegram service in 2006, so we had to make our own. Stop. The most important outcome from being a part of the Kenmore West and summer musicals is the lifelong friendships that were made and are so much a part of our current lives. Stop. Without you, we may not have met. We thank you, Paul and Debbie George Atkinson. And I don't have mine, but on a personal note, I wrote one. And then Diane forgot to bring it. That's all right. My dog ate it. That's all right. But, so here I am. I'm at Kenmore West, 1969. My brother's already been there, not doing any musicals. And I'm in sports. I'm a jock. I don't want this musical stuff, So my mother forces me to go to see this show called Carnival. And these roustabouts, are all over the damn place, and they're doing all kinds of what looks like athletic stuff. And there's dancing girls. So I get home, and I'm telling my brother about this, and he goes, you ought to do that stuff. You ought to go audition. And my mother says, Michael, you've got some talent. You ought to go do auditions. And I said, well, why would I want to go do an audition? And my brother said, because you might be able to meet some of those dancing girls. So sure enough, Patty Leeming and Debbie George, and Diane, 3 dancing girls, talked me into going to an audition, and you gave me a part of Enoch Snow Jr., my first part, and it lit a fire in me. Now, I wasn't a confident kid. Couldn't get up on stage. You know my dad. He could. I couldn't. But the things you taught me, the things that you instilled in me, the confidence you gave me, the kind words, the constant pushing, the prodding, the coming to my shows as I started directing. I've directed over 65 shows. There's not a show that goes by I didn't do something that I thought of you. Because you gave me something every single time. So I got a career because of you. So now I'm at Rich Products and I direct a lot of people all over the place. And I think of you. So it was so cool to see you last month, having coffee here and reminiscing. And so when Diane called me and put this together, I said, absolutely, but we're there. And I'm so proud that she did this. And I'm so happy that all of us could be here, and especially you, Ron. I'm glad we got in touch with you. And Fran and John, thanks so much for getting to this. It's really a pleasure. Really, thanks for that. I love you.
Thanks, Mike. I have some other tributes that people sent in, Jerry, so let me just grab this to read. From Norm Quam.
Isn't that Dave's brother?
Actually, that's how he signed his letter. Seriously, he really did. AKA Dave's brother. Norm writes, how many can remember the names of just a few of their teachers in high school or college? Not many, really, but we can do the opening scene from one of the shows or a song that someone else actually sung without script or notes, and why. Because Jerry gave a chance to exercise pride, responsibility, courage, commitment, art, dance, music, balance, and it stuck. Jerry didn't give us this stuff, we had it. What he had was the wisdom and confidence to allow us to release our abilities. It is forever, for always, and as they say when you're a jet all the way. My compliments to you on a wonderful life and for sharing so generously with us all, Norm Quam, known to some as Dave's brother. And then from Pete and Patty Quam, they wrote one together, and then Pete wrote a couple of words just on his own. So from his letter, he wrote, upon reading the names of the notable people of Kenmore West, it made me realize that notoriety is not important. It's the day-to-day efforts of people like you that make the difference in the world. You are like the George Bailey of Kenmore West. Even though the primary reason for me getting involved in theater were my brothers, I can do that. It would not have been possible without you providing the vehicle. If you had not provided the opportunity for me to become involved in theater, I would never have met my wife, Patty Leaning, and have 3 beautiful children, now young adults, by her. If you had not provided an opportunity for me to become involved in theater, I would not have gone on to perform professionally and become a member of the Actors' Equity. If you had not provided me an opportunity to become involved in theater, I would not have the skill sets necessary to do what I now do, communicate, in my role as marketing director for a business. And Patty writes, thank you for the opportunity to learn and grow during those years. Thank you for recording those experiences on vinyl records. And they're there. Who got their vinyl records? That's right, Dan did. That's awesome. Thank you for allowing us to hang out backstage. And isn't that true? It was like family. I mean, we were family backstage. It was just a different world, a wonderful world. To bond, to experiment while escaping high school. Thank you for the summer musical theater workshop, which gave us much to look forward to during the summers, as well as bringing new theater people into our lives. But most importantly, thank you for recognizing our talents and being so supportive. Your success as a mentor is evident in the number of your students who went on in the arts. Congratulations on a job well done.
That was Dave's sister-in-law?
Yes, Dave's sister-in-law. And then from Greg Easterbrook. Like hundreds of other Kenmore West students over the years, the highlight of my passage through high school was involvement with the theater crowd and its leader. The place at the school that I remember most fondly, rehearsals, shows, hanging out, stolen kisses, were backstage. Greg Easterbrook, stealing kisses backstage.
Who knew?
What an excellent day. I mean, really. Wow. Yeah. Here's my anecdote. In my junior year, the musical was South Pacific, with Marilyn Lang as Nellie.
Yeah.
Mr. Starr, you had wisely placed me in a non-singing role. Marilyn was introduced for the show within a show scene of the second act, but didn't come out. Something went wrong, and she missed her entrance cue. Do you remember
She's in
this?
the bathroom smoking a cigarette.
All these years later, now it's told.
Shrugging my shoulders, I strode onto the stage and ad-libbed for a minute or two. Audience members who knew the show surely thought, I don't remember this part. Finally, Marilyn made her entrance. After the last bows, you placed around my neck a square of tin foil hanging from some string with the word hero scotch taped. Not exactly a fantastic award. I've kept it to this day, and it sits on my desk as I write. Mr. Starr, the sense of teamwork and group effort you instilled in the